Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to War on the Sea, a new game out by Killerfish Games, the developers of Cold Waters and Atlantic Fleet. And in today's episode, we're returning to our Japanese Let's Play series at the dawn of a new day. I believe it's day number 5 in the campaign. It is August 12th of 1942. So far the war's going well for us. We've sunk a whole bunch of enemy merchants, a fair number of enemy cruisers, and a couple of enemy destroyers. We haven't faced any major capital ships yet, but the Wichita class heavy cruiser was sunk, as well as multiple other American treaty cruisers. I think we've sunk 3 of the Atlantas, and I think there's only 3 of those, or sorry, 6 of those total. And so we've sunk 35 enemy ships for 304,000 tons against not a single ship on our end. Now we have lost 100 aircraft. The enemy has only lost 11, but so far the campaign is going well. I do have reinforcements arriving on Guadalcanal, probably this day. They're just sailing south, and they will be unloading some engineers and some fuel and some supplies at Guadalcanal so that we can upgrade this airfield or build an airfield, a level 1 airfield, and get some zeros on the island. We also do have 73 command points available currently. What I would like to do, frankly, is build a surface task force and begin engaging enemy task forces with battleships or cruisers, because frankly, bombing the enemy with carriers is getting a little bit boring. The AI has been pretty inept at that, at defending against that. But one other thing I need to do is I also need to go ahead and get more supplies into Guadalcanal so we can eventually win this campaign. And so to that effect, we're going to go ahead and we're going to build a new merchant task force with 2 merchant ships. And then I think we'll do maybe 1 fleet oiler, I think would make sense. So these 3 ships are going to need a small escort. So we'll go ahead and do a couple of Minakaze class destroyers here. We've got 3 merchant ships, so let's go ahead and get maybe 3 destroyers. And I think if we go in a circle formation, we can have a pretty effective defense against enemy subs. Maybe not. I need more ships than that to do well. We can drop 1 of the merchants, and then we can do 2 in the 2 and 5 spot with 3 destroyers. So we need destroyers at 1, 3, and 4. 1, 3, and 4. 4, 3, 1, and then we've got the oiler at 2. Probably the most protected position, and then the cargo ship at 5. So go ahead and do that. We can go ahead and load these guys with some cargo. Go ahead and throw 100 engineers on board. And 100 fuel on board. Let's go ahead and get those aspects up. Also, we are using destroyers, so we can go ahead and bring some additional reinforcements down. With our 3 destroyers, we'll bring 400 more supply, 500 more troops, and we'll go ahead and set these guys course to go straight down the slot to Guadalcanal, and hopefully allow us to move the airfield from a level 1 to a level 2. We got to get it to level 5 to win the campaign, and so that's what we'll try and do. We're currently at 2,500 troops. We brought about 1,000 down. I think we're bringing in additional... No, these are all just supplies. Never mind. But we also currently have a carrier, the Suikaku, up here to the north. She is about to send out 24 zeros on morning reconnaissance flights to see what enemy ships are out this way. We have 14 dive bombers and 6 torpedo bombers left on her. And then we are also bringing reinforcements to the south, a second carrier here to replace the Suikaku, the Shokaku, coming down with a full complement of aircraft, 24 fighters, 24 Vals, 24 dive bombers, Kates. Once she arrives, we'll go ahead and send the Suikaku north, and then once the Suikaku gets back north and we disband that task force, we'll go ahead and start building some surface action groups. So maybe in a couple of videos we can go ahead and have some interesting surface battles against the Americans, rather than just continuing to sort of seal club them with aircraft. So with that being said, let's get started. It is morning. You can see my scout planes are on the way out. You can see we had quite a robust setup here for this morning for our scouting. That is a very tight pattern of aircraft going out. All right, so we did spot an enemy merchant convoy here in the slot on its way up. We got a second reconnaissance flight going out that way. We also spotted an enemy. Ooh. Got an enemy surface task force that includes a battleship, a heavy cruiser, a light cruiser, I think, and 2 destroyers, so that'll be interesting. Okay, so good second sighting on this merchant. So we actually have a couple of surface task forces, a heavy cruiser and a destroyer. I think these guys are from a group I damaged. No indications of enemy carriers, which we had spotted previously, and I've got a pretty wide search pattern out here. Even some shipping in the north, or spotting, you know, aircraft in the north, even some aircraft flying around Port Moresby. No indication of anything out that way. So first things first, we got to make sure that this enemy task force doesn't sneak into Guadalcanal and land enemy troops. So that is going to be the objective, the short-term objective of these carriers. Let's go ahead and send Task Force 5 out at them. Launch aircraft. 12 valves. Go get them, boys. Target is going to be the merchant ships. There's 2 heavy cruisers in that group also. And then the second carrier group is also going to go ahead and send valves, because valves seem to be maybe more efficient at sinking enemy merchants. I don't know, maybe that's just my perception, but the torpedo bombers lose really high casualties in a way that the valves don't. And the torpedo bombers are better against warships, in my opinion. They're too valuable to waste on merchants. So let's go ahead and send 24 dive bombers. Actually, we got the 24 dive bombers off the carriers, but then Shortland actually should have 4 valves in range here also. Oh, really? No, they're not? Damn, I thought they were just barely in range. Not unless they're around this northern tip. Okay, RTB then. We do have some Bettys which are on the way south, so we can go ahead and send these guys in, these land-based torpedo bombers, these twin-engine medium bombers. They can make it there, I think. Yeah, they've got the range. Although the enemy task force may unload. Oh shit. What did I just do? I think I just fast-forwarded absurdly. Task Force 5 is encountering something. I don't know what. I hit the wrong button there, so hopefully this is just like a submarine that's not gonna get a shot off. I don't know. You can see my carrier here in the middle of this task force. We've got 4 destroyers on all sides. "180 seconds, I can't just evacuate." Any sign of what we're up against? There's got to be fish in the water somewhere. Can't see them. If we zoom way out, any sign of bubbles? And it could be aircraft also, but I do have radar turned on. Probably moving too fast to pick up a submarine. And these scenes always make me like jump. I feel like, is this a torpedo? And then I see, well, it's probably just a wave. Is this a wake up here? No, probably just a wave. Can we get out of here yet? Still says 180 seconds. I guess we might as well start the timer at least. Take a moment to observe just how pretty our carrier is. We zoom in down here, we'll look at this flight deck. One of the 2 remaining Japanese carriers not sunk. Fleet carrier is not sunk at Midway. Because she wasn't there. Pose for me, baby. Beautiful warship. Alright, still no indication of what might be shooting at me. I've gotten a nice solid screen around the carrier. At least cannon fodder. And I guess we'll fast forward here. There's got to be sub in close, but I don't really want to hunt for it. I just want to get out of here. So there you go. All right, so our dive bombers are on the way down. Did we spot another task force? 2 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers, and 2 destroyers, plus the 1 battleship, 1 heavy cruiser, 1 light cruiser. Man, this would be a fun little battleship duel if I had any battleships. Probably have to sink him with carriers. But it's the way of the world. All right, let's go ahead and go into tactical combat here and engage these boys. We're gonna do 4 vals per ship. Should be able to, oh shit. Get out of here, boys. We're gonna have to divert to avoid the enemy flak envelopes. Already in goddamn range. Alright, so we're getting the aircraft out of here. You can see there was a little bit of flak being fired. We do have this enemy task force here, which consists of what? It's like a Fletcher, I think? Treaty cruiser, 9 8-inch guns. Second treaty cruiser with 9 8-inch guns. And then we've got 6 merchant ships carrying U.S. Marines. Let's go ahead and fast forward here. Let's maneuver these guys around the enemy's flak so that we can come in toward the rear of the enemy task force rather than flying down the entire length. And then we'll take a look. Sorry if the volume was a little bit loud there, just adjusted it. Okay, so group number 1, you're going to go after target 10, which is the trailing merchant. Group 9, you're going after the second in line. Oh shit, these guys already went way too far. And then these guys are going after target 8. So they went a bit further out. All right, so let's try and take out 3 of the enemy merchants, cut their landing force in half. Perhaps some of them may be just supply, but some of them may be troops. I'm not sure which. I don't know how the AI staggers its supply versus troops in these convoys. Obviously, some of these guys are presumably carrying troops, and some of them are carrying supplies for them to fight. The rear group is getting fired upon by the enemy flak. Well, actually, so are we. But most of the enemy task force seems to be out of range or something. Alright, so we got a couple of good hits on that rear merchant. It's like only maybe 1 hit on this other merchant. 3 hits on number 9. 5 hits on 10. Oh geez, like all of our valves are smoking here. These 2 merchants are smoking, but I don't think we did enough to sink him. Oh, we just lost, I think, our first aircraft in this attack. Second one went down in that second group. I don't think we scored a hit. Doesn't look like we did. In that last task force, that last bombing group lost 3 vals. The 4th is smoking. That's a lot of fucking flak. I guess it was a little bit perpendicular to the enemy cruisers, so did get exposed to a little bit more, but they would have come in further away in their initial drop. Interesting. Anyway, it's from the carrier that's going to be withdrawing, so it's not the end of the world. Alright, let's get out of here. None of these enemy ships are going to sink, by the way. We didn't hit any of them hard enough. Maybe this guy, it is a little bit low in the water. I suppose that rear ship could go down. It did take multiple hits, so I guess we'll fast forward here a little bit. See if maybe we sank it as we kind of let our planes fly off. I don't think so. Take a look at the report. It's heavy and moderate, so probably it's not critical. And I don't really see a lot of fires going on here, so it's not like we're getting a lot of secondary explosions. There are some fires below deck, but nothing I think that is going to result in it sinking. Go back to reports. Still heavy and moderate. Just falling out of line. This guy actually is having secondary explosions here. See a fire on deck. I think I saw a brief flash from a secondary. Fire is spreading. We'll give it a little bit of time. See what happens here. Now, since I think the last time we streamed this, and I am not live streaming this, but I think since the last time we streamed this, they added smoke screens officially. I know we had mentioned it, but I don't know if I had... It might have actually been in the game, but I didn't really talk about it a lot, which is kind of a cool little feature for ships to be able to lay smoke screens. And then recently, they just had a feature that allows ships to kind of fire at will, so sort of managing their own target selection if you don't tell them what to do, which I think is going to be very helpful to prevent some of the, you know, min-maxing type requirements or just sort of micromanagement requirements that I feel like were very inherent in the game with its initial release, where it was like, you got to tell every single battery on the ship, you know, the main guns, the secondaries, what to do, and then you've also got to tell them when to open fire and who on, and, you know, and it's not just the whole formation. Not just divisions, you got to tell every single ship one at a time when you want them to fire. Like, I think that could be a useful little feature. And so it's up to heavy and heavy, so I guess we'll continue and see if the flooding increases to sinking. Just for a few more moments. More of those secondaries, more fires, could be doing more damage to this enemy ship, could end up sending it below. We shall see. I don't want to give it too long. I don't, you know, it's a little boring here. You know, I'm going to be quiet. We're going to jump ahead to the end of this waiting period and see what happens. All right, if we jump ahead here, we can see that one of these ships, number 9, did succumb to its injuries after extensive burning out of the ship. So we did get one of the 5 enemy merchants for 12,000 tons and 5 command points with heavy damage on number 10. And number 8 is escaped unharmed. We did lose 3 of our 12 attacking aircraft, so that kind of sucks. But the good news is they're not from the carrier that's going to be hanging around here too long. Meanwhile, the second group here of 12 Vals is on the way. Hopefully we get to these guys before they get to, before they end up getting into position to land their troops. Let's go ahead and send our 6 remaining Kates out as well. Just because I need every plane I can get in order to make sure that these guys don't escape. Okay, so we've got the 9 dive bombers returning, the 6 Kates attacking, as well as the 12 Vals. Meanwhile, our transport fleet is getting close to Guadalcanal. I really don't want my guys to run into the enemy cruisers either. All right. So we're gonna have a nice sort of combined attack with these guys, with 6 dive bombers, or sorry, 12 dive bombers and 6 torpedo bombers. Oh god, the Vals are already on top of these ships, like they're literally directly below the front of this. Okay, well, in that case, we're not going to escape the enemy flak. First group, just go in and get out. Attack the lead enemy ship, which I believe is a destroyer. Next Val attack ship number 2 in line. This group of Vals attack ship number 3 in line, just because that's where you're at. No escaping that. And then the Kates, we're going to go ahead and split into 2 different groups. We're going to go ahead and have the Kate number 4. That makes aircraft types. Oh. So we're going to have 2 groups of 3 Kates. Go after these guys. I think if we get 1 torpedo into a cargo ship, it's done. We'll go after 7 and 8 in the formation here. Those guys, the dive bombers are just going to go straight in. The torpedo bombers are going to take a second. So you can see the dive bombers are already diving, just instantly going in on the lead enemy ships. The one positive is we're like directly over them, so they don't. Oh, well, we lost one right away, but we did put at least 1 bomb into that lead destroyer. This guy's not attacking anyone? Multiple bombs. I think that second destroyer might be sunk. We lost one of the bombers in the lead formation. That was a nice ring of... By the way, what are you doing flying the length of the entire formation? Shit. It's a little late to change it now. We just lost 2 aircraft in that group. I think I see 1 Val down, 2, 3 Vals down total. We did a good deal of damage to those lead enemy warships, which is actually important because what I'm toying with is if I can't get my aircraft to finish off these enemy merchants, what we may end up doing is sending some of the destroyer escorts for our convoy heading into Guadalcanal and send them to engage these guys in a surface action. But I realistically can't do that if there's enemy cruisers and whatnot, because all I have is destroyer escorts. But if we can knock out the enemy surface vessels, then sinking enemy merchants with no escort, definitely something that's feasible. We did sink that second destroyer in line, as I kind of guessed we might. Heavy cruisers peeling off. We can see the 1 enemy heavy cruiser that is undamaged, sailing bravely forward, undamaged. Our torpedo bombers are coming in on the merchants. Oh man, that was a really close 5-inch shell. Apparently I set these guys to line ahead, which is probably not the best strategy for maximizing the chance of a hit. Although maybe maximizing the chance of sinking an enemy. They're off. They're off. So both groups got all their torpedoes off. Lost 1. All right. So I think it's safe to say both these merchants are done. 3 torpedo hits. 2 on the 7, 2 on the 8. No, 3 on the 7. Only 1 on the 8? The other 2 missed. Looks like we lost 1 Kate. So, all right, well, we for sure got this one with those multiple 3 torpedo hits. Not sure about this guy. We might have 2 badly damaged merchants and 2 sunk out of the 6 so far. All right, 7 is sinking. She's going down quickly with her 3 torpedo hits. That's to be expected. This guy is like dead in the water from his damage from the previous battle. I don't know if we can expect this destroyer to sink. She's certainly badly damaged. What's the report say? Heavy and moderate, moderate and moderate, sunk, heavy, moderate, sunk, heavy, moderate. So yeah, I think these guys may survive. I mean, the destroyer is ablaze. We can give it some time and see if she ends up sinking. You can see the merchant back here is also ablaze. Cruiser at least suffered damage. I don't think I'd want to engage even a damaged heavy cruiser with a destroyer, though. I suppose, you know, we've got the long lance torpedo. We might have some success. That's also supposedly what they fixed in one of the recent patches and has made torpedoes more viable, I guess. You can see this destroyer is on fire. She is burning pretty good. Heavy and moderate, no real change here yet. We'll go ahead and pause, or I guess I'll step away for a moment or two and we'll see if she sinks after the fact. All right, so I have 1-0 in here. I'm going to go ahead and send the 0 down to strafe this enemy destroyer because I was looking at the reports and the destroyer is up to critical damage, so it would not take much to finish the destroyer off. Even just some 20mm cannon fire from a single 0 might be enough. She probably will sink on her own. She may even be scuttled if I do nothing, but we'll see if we can send her on her way with a real quick single pass from this 0. Maybe we'll do a little bit of extra damage to finish her off. Not sure. 0 took some damage, and she is on fire. But I don't think they'll sink her. She's dead in the water, low in the water. See if we can compress time a little bit and if she sinks. I think she will sink. It's just a matter of if we give her enough time. He's going to keep firing at that destroyer, or that 0 at long range, but I think the 0 is safe. See her very low in the water, ablaze stem to stern. I mean, it says critical and heavy, so I guess let's retreat and see if they scuttle her, because I feel like usually they would. No, they didn't scuttle it. Okay, well, that sucks. Moderate damage on the cruiser. 1 more ship sunk. No, 2. We got the destroyer. RTB. We lost 2 Kates, it looks like. And we also lost 3 Vals, was it? Can the aircraft here launch again? No, 0.4 an hour. What about the aircraft and the Shokaku? Yes. So we can go ahead and send 12 more Vals out at these enemy ships. And we'll work on finishing these guys off. Also, we do have the Betties coming down. Shokaku ready to launch. No, that's Shokaku, not Shokaku. Already got all the Vals out, so I guess we'll go ahead and go 1 run with the torpedo bombers. I hate to spend torpedo bombers on this, but I need to make sure they don't get a landing. Go ahead and get our 11 Vals off the Suikaku. We're up to 8 in the morning, so a lot of air activity already. Our initial scouting aircraft are on their way back to their bases. They've run out of fuel. They're now on their return legs. Where are these guys going? They might not even be going for Guadalcanal. They might be trying to land on one of these unoccupied islands, like Meledia or something, maybe? Alright. How far out are you? 0.4 an hour. What about the Betties? Still 0.6 an hour out. How's the fuel on these Vals? We've got enough. We could do a massive coordinated airstrike here. Oh shit, those guys are out of fuel now. I guess we gotta go. Go with what we've got. The Betties aren't gonna be in range yet. But we'll at least have 2 near full groups of Vals and a group of Kates. So we'll jump into the tactical map. We also have a whole bunch of 0s that were flying by, but I don't think they're gonna be involved. All right, so good thing is these guys all formed up on the rear of the enemy task force, which is exactly what we want. So I don't even need to get too cute with it. I can just start sending these guys in. Group number 1 to attack the rear enemy merchant. Group number 2 to attack merchant number 6. Group number 3 to attack merchant number 5. And then we can go with these 3 groups of Vals to attack the next line of ships. This one at 4. This one at 3, which I believe is the cruiser, the undamaged one. And then this one on the damaged cruiser. And then the Kates aren't even in this fight, apparently. That's annoying. They should have been right on the field, unless I think 24 aircraft might be the most the game lets you command in a battle. So that might be why we don't have the Kates here, because they were definitely in range. We have ships. Let's switch CC air. Yep. So I know we've got 24 dive bombers coming in an impressive formation here. Some of the lead enemy ships look like maybe they're maneuvering. We're all going to be diving in. Oh my god, that's an armada. 24 dive bombers. Oh, one of our groups are already in. The rear groups are already in. You can see them hitting these two rear ships and also this middle ship. We're now coming in. It looks like we might have lost one aircraft, I think I saw, in that initial group. Some good hits on this merchant. Probably not enough to sink it. This cruiser took a bunch of bomb hits. And then several good hits on this cruiser, which is the one that's already damaged. The second cruiser in line. She's already low in the water. She's ablaze again. This guy's ablaze now, so 2 heavy cruisers damaged. And then the merchant ships. All but one of these merchants is not really damaged. But I think we got I think we got a couple of these ships. We didn't hit the lead ship, which was the critically damaged destroyer. Is she not critical anymore? She's heavy and moderate. Okay. Oh, by the way, so what's the report say? Critical damage on the cruiser, she'll sink probably. It's critical right after the bomb drop. Heavy and heavy, she might sink also. Heavy, I would imagine this guy will sink, this guy will sink, this guy will sink. So I think all that'll be left, one merchant and maybe a cruiser and a destroyer. You can see this guy's already dead in the water. Smoke everywhere, listing heavily. Looks like we lost Val number 10 and that's it. So that was a very efficient strike with those dive bombers. And we should be able to finish off whatever's left after the hour cooldown with the Bettys and maybe the Kates if we need to, but not sure I even want to risk the Kates. If I don't have to. Alright, so looks like 2 to 3 ships back here in dead in the water, 1 heavy cruiser. Come on, give me the reports that they're sinking. 1-0, I'll go ahead and fly over here for recon. Just to get a little bit of eyes on. Is my, alright, so number 4 is sinking, which was a merchant ship. I'm glad I know that, even though I have no visibility on any of these enemy ships at the moment. Alright, number 6 is sinking, which is another merchant. So 4 and 6 are both sinking. Already sunk. 3 is heavily ablaze. So is 2. Gotta think these guys are gonna sink. They're shooting flak at my 0, which is flying by. Guys, get out of range. Okay. So the cruisers are both up to critical damage with heavy flooding, while the one remaining merchant that took damage is heavy moderate. Be nice to get 2 more heavy enemy cruisers. Gotta wait for it to happen. Let me time compress. Alright, she's gonna fly out there just beyond anti-aircraft range to keep an eye on these guys. She might accidentally duck back in, we'll see. These American ships are stubborn, though. American damage control, I guess. Do they ever scuttle, though? That's the question. Critical, critical, heavy, heavy. Okay, so you're heavy flooding. Just sink then. Oh shit, he's gonna fly up to that destroyer and get shot at. Well, if you're gonna get shot at, you might as well go straight for that cruiser. Try and finish him off. You didn't manage to finish off the enemies last time. Now you're gonna do the whole stupid circle thing while under fire rather than just dive in and attack. But you haven't taken any damage yet. I guess technically going in circles, you're maneuvering, kind of. Coming in here for the attack. Here come the small anti-aircraft rounds. See the 5 inches of midship firing. I think she started another fire on the enemy. Looked like there may be a fire, a bit of puff of smoke that kicked up there. Let's go for number 2 also. If you didn't take any damage, I'm going to go ahead and have you bank in and go for number 2, which is the heavy cruiser that's fire was put out. So I can get that fire going again. That'd be great. Maybe that would be enough to finish her off. The coup de grace, as they say. Playing with fire for the 0 to try and come in here twice. Nice. A nice secondary explosion there. Blew something up on the deck. Presumably started another fire on board her. We're going to bank back around. Let's push our luck. Let's go for number 3. You're not smoking yet. Go back on this other burning cruiser. Just hope the enemy anti-aircraft remains largely ineffective. You are going parallel to that cruiser, which is never a good situation to be in, but she's not really angling any of her 5 inches toward you, so. Flying through some flak there. Go back after number 2 here. Still not damaged. Living a charmed life. Oh, wait, you are smoking now. That's bad. Maybe I shouldn't have ordered this. Do see a smoke trail behind you. Last one, buddy. You can do it. No! Well, he didn't make it. All right, what's the report say on these ships? Critical, critical, only moderate flooding on number 3. What do you mean time compression? Not available. That aircraft ship was shot down. All right, I'm gonna step away for a second. We'll jump ahead in the video here and we'll see what happens to these 2 critically damaged and on fire enemy light cruiser or heavy cruisers. Okay, so we jumped forward here and I didn't really see any sinking, and so they didn't sink. Critical damage again, but they didn't sink. Same for the merchants. So these guys are tough little buggers. They don't want to sink. So the Kates are still chilling here with a good amount of endurance. We're bringing in the Bettys. I gotta think 8 Bettys and 12 Kates would be enough. Oh, shit. There's an enemy surface task force here too? 2 heavy. Oh no, that's the same group. They just changed their classification. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and chase these guys. I don't know where they're going. Gonna jump into the tactical. Betty's on one side, Kate's on the other. Let's see what we've got. All right, so these aircraft need to bank out a little bit to the right so they don't immediately end up in flak coverage. Betty's can probably stay put. Right, so there's the task force spotted. They're already shooting at my Kates. Enemy ships, lead ships in formation here already turning. We're gonna try and anvil them, but I don't know how feasible it's gonna be if they're maneuvering. I should have moved off a little bit more. I want to be under flak coverage. It's a lead ship in formation. This destroyer is maneuvering. I think the Bettys will go for the heavy cruisers, and the Kates will go for the enemy merchants. So we'll go for number 5 with the rearmost Kate task force. Switch to line abreast. Second group, you go for 4. Line abreast, also attack. Third group, go for one of the heavies. These two enemy cruisers almost look like they've collided, which could make attacking them easier. And I don't think we're going to be able to get that destroyer because of its maneuvering, but we'll see. We're going to order them all to go down to attack altitude and make their runs. Loosely simultaneously. I could certainly min-max this to do a better job, but we're going to probably follow these 2 engines just because we don't get to see them a whole lot because they're based so far away. But these guys are the whole reason for the Battle of Guadalcanal in the first place. These bombers with their like 1,300 mile plus range, the ability to influence the supply lines to Australia, these guys are the reason. These guys are the threat that required, at least in the American eyes, to respond to Guadalcanal, to the Japanese building an airfield on Guadalcanal, historically anyway. By the way, I don't know if any of you guys heard, and maybe I'll make a video on him a little bit later, but James Hornfisher died, who's the author of Neptune's Inferno, which is an absolutely brilliant book about the Guadalcanal campaign at sea. And it is, you know, some of the best writing I've ever read in history. Looking, you know, not all of history, but like in terms of history writing. And its ability to convey history in an interesting way to folks who may not be hugely interested in history. The discussion it has around the Battle of Savo Island is absolutely breathtaking in the way that it describes the experience of what it was like to be on a treaty cruiser during naval battles, where those things were getting, you know, great firepower, absolutely disastrous armor schemes, and just the sheer horror that had to be anyone's experience on those things. Right, so we lost several Kates in that run. Did see torpedoes drop, but all right, so they are angling in, so hopefully these fish come in and hit this merchant. This group of Bettys, I don't think they've dropped yet. They haven't. Actually, neither of the Bettys have dropped. Kates have all dropped. And I just looked away while I was doing that. We got 1 torpedo hit on the number 4, 2 on the number 3. So this cruiser took 2 torpedo hits. Sorry, guys. Really bad YouTubing on my part. So the Bettys are coming in here. Real low over this merchant. They got at least 3 of the torpedoes off. Where's the other group of Bettys? See if we can see from a distance what happens to that cruiser. I'm sure at least one of the fish will go home. 2. 3. Well, that one's a goner for sure. And then the destroyer. Did she get hit by one? Looks like the destroyer got hit by a fish as well. So 2 is sinking. 3 is wallowing. I don't know if she took a... Didn't see any fish. Yeah, she did take a couple torpedoes. So 3 will probably sink, I would guess. 2 is sinking for sure. I would think 1 would sink also. The destroyer was hit by 2 torpedoes, but one of them was a dud. Still, she was already very badly damaged. So we got to imagine all but maybe this merchant number 4 here are dead. We did lose 3 Bettys, which take until the next day to rearm, but they've got to fly such a long route that they're going to be flying until night anyway. And we lost 2 Kates. Come on, guys. Americans have good damage control, but they shouldn't be able to survive this. You can't tell me the destroyer, which already had taken like 3 or 4 bomb hits, would survive. She's at least ablaze. Really low in the water. Cruiser is listing, but maybe not concerningly. Alright, destroyer critical heavy, cruiser critical heavy, moderate and minor. You know what's annoying is whenever my Japanese cargo ships take a single American torpedo, they're toast. This guy's got to be a goner, right? You just haven't reported it yet. Alright, let's jump ahead to the end of this battle too. Alright, I'm absolutely blown away by the fact that the destroyer did not sink, and neither did the cruiser. So they've still got 1 heavy cruiser that's admittedly crippled, 1 destroyer, and 1 merchant left in this task force. That is just annoying as hell. Alright, so our aircraft are landing back on our carriers. Kaku can't launch anything for a while. What about Tsuikaku? No. Well, do we break our 2 destroyers, which aren't even terribly good? Actually, 3 destroyers off, which aren't even terribly good, to try and go chase that convoy down? Alright. Let's go ahead and unload the cargo here, now that these guys are at Guadalcanal. That will give us enough to build an airfield, which we will do. And now you can see we have actually enough to build a level 1 port too, which I don't really know what a level 1 port does. I do know a level 3 port you can replenish at. I'm not 100% sure what a level 1 port would do, but I'm not sure if we have any use for these 50 fuel and 50 engineering, unless we just want to transport them over to the Florida Islands. Build an airfield there. I guess we could do that. I mean, we could build the port, but again, I don't know what good that does us. So we'll go ahead and build an airfield on the Florida Islands also. So now we will have 4 zeros on Guadalcanal. We will, assuming we get these guys safely to the Florida Islands, we'll have 4 aircraft on there, and then that'll give us 8 zeros to strengthen our position down here. All right. Let's go ahead and launch another flight of Vals. Not sure where they're at. But we'll find him. Who's this? It doesn't even say who this encounter's with. So they might have a crippled heavy cruiser that can shoot lob shells at our carrier if this is... I got my Vals on the edge of the combat zone. Should have tried to get my zeros up. I don't know what's coming after me. Got an enemy float plane, which is presumably from their cruiser. Just get out of here. I'm not interested in that. I just want to find where their ships are. I guess if they technically were in that fight, I won't find them for another hour. They're there. Okay, are these guys in range yet? Can they unload their cargo? Alright, so Florida Islands is now going to have an airfield, which does give us also better range. So you can see these circles here, I'm assuming are like automatic detection range from just having a more built-up base. So that also helps sort of close this gap of visibility if they try and sneak any stuff after us. Let's go ahead and into the tactical mode. We've got 9 Vals involved here against 3 enemy ships. Yeah. So we can go ahead and pause. We're gonna go ahead and take number 8, 4. Break those guys off. Form 8, 4, and 9 together in a new group. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and send 3 Vals after each ship here. The first 2 groups are probably going to be better in their attacks because they're formed up. The last group probably not, so we'll send them after the destroyer. I could wait, let all the aircraft get into their proper formations. But by now you know I don't have the patience. You can see at least these guys are forming up. They may get formed up before they go on the bomb run. At least 2 of them will. One of them's trailing. You can see heavy. These guys are all just... Look at that. I guess maybe those are smoke screens, actually. I was thinking maybe it was... But I suppose those could be smoke screens. Usually the ships don't start on fire. So I think they are trying to put up a smoke screen. Didn't do that cruiser any good. She got hit by 4 bombs. One bomb on the merchant. That's it? Just the one? God damn. I don't think I lost any aircraft, but... Guessing the cruiser's toast. The warships are probably a little ways out to engage. Although you can see the enemy heavy cruisers does have its guns at max elevation. I don't think they could hit us from here. Oh, they put their guns down. You gotta sink now, right? You just gotta. Critical, heavy, critical, heavy. Come on, guys. Alright, so we sank the cruiser. We got the notice that it sank. Give it a moment to see if any of the other ships sink, but I don't think they will. The destroyer didn't take any more damage, so it probably won't sink, so we'll go ahead and leave the combat area. You can see we sank the cruiser. That leaves a moderately damaged merchant ship and a destroyer left. So these cargo ships, we're going to take a little bit of a risk, and we're going to go ahead and split these guys off. Send them back to Rabaul on their own. These guys are asking to be hit by subs. Just asking for it. And then we're going to go ahead and take the remaining 3 destroyers. Try to go engage the enemy task force here. I really don't want to waste more. We're still too far away, aren't we? This is my carrier group. I really don't want to waste more planes getting shot down. I'd rather send some more or less expendable destroyers to mop up. With the merchant ship slowing him down, I think I can chase him. Alright, so Suikaku needs to return to base anyway with that damaged aircraft loadout. Well, there you have it. We successfully built an airfield on Guadalcanal and also on the Florida Islands, so that worked out for us. We're in the process of trying to finish off an enemy task force that's been badly bludgeoned by air power, but we're trying to use some surface assets to finish it off, and we'll see how that plays out in our next video. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here. Hope you guys enjoyed yet another look at War on the Sea by Killerfish Games, and until next time, as always, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm out.